Do you run and hide when you see a job posting that requires a cover letter? Or are you someone that rarely submits that optional cover letter alongside your resume? Cover letters don't have to be a source of nightmares anymore. I'll share with you some ways that you can overcome your cover letter fears on today's Tuesday Talks. Hi, my name is Ashlee Davis and I work in talent development with Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area. Today, I'm going to show you how you can hack the cover letter. Think of today's video as a cover letter 101. I'm going to be covering what exactly a cover letter is, what purpose it serves, what you need to put in it, and how you can remove some of the stress of creating one. Next week, we're going to be covering the more advanced techniques for those of you who are no stranger to this formidable foe. I'll share with you some ways that you can make your cover letter even more effective, but for today, we are going to be focusing on the foundation. Cover letters are an opportunity for you to stand out to the hiring manager by highlighting why you're the perfect candidate for the position. It outlines your experience and your skill set and how that makes you an asset to their company. But most importantly, it gives you a voice and it shares a bit of your personality. So this will make your submission memorable and it can help you stand out, which increases your chances of moving on to the next step in the hiring process. All of this needs to be communicated as succinctly as possible. The shorter, the better, because if your letter's too long, a busy hiring manager won't have the time to read it. Look, I'm gonna be honest, cover letters are a really polarizing topic. If you just do a quick Google search, you will find tons of concrete do's and don'ts lists that completely contradict each other. All of those online articles and guides are a great resource for the logical process of crafting a cover letter. Fair warning, I'm going to be flipping all of those cover letter commandments on their head and suggesting a technique that's often found at the top of the don'ts list. But hear me out. When I was looking for a job, I must have read 15 of these top tips lists, and none of them could actually help me put words on the paper. I would stare at my blank Word document for hours, writing, overthinking, and then ultimately deleting every single sentence that I came up with. Eventually, I'd throw my hands up in the air and just submit my resume, or I might even just avoid the job post entirely. It wasn't that I didn't care enough about the position or want to put in the extra effort. In fact, it was the opposite. It was that I cared so much about the position that I didn't want to potentially say the wrong thing. Flash forward a few years later, and now my job is to help people just like you get a job. I had to figure out some way to overcome my own mental block so that I could effectively coach job seekers. Over the years, I found a method that really does help people get more comfortable with the uncomfortable task of creating and submitting cover letters. That's why we're making this a two-parter. Next Tuesday, I'm going to be covering some of those more traditional cover letter best practices. But today is for those of you that are experiencing that mental block and you're looking for some help in working through it. Okay, so here's the secret hack. Create a strong cover letter template that you can quickly edit when you're applying to different jobs. This will remove the mental hurdle and allow you to actually start submitting cover letters even when they're optional. As you become more comfortable with the process, you can start writing fresh cover letters for each position that's tailored to that job posting, or experimenting with different formats. But for today, let's stick to a very simple 3-paragraph format. Here is what you're going to want to include in your template for each one of those sections and what you'll want to change out for each application submission. For your greeting, try to include the hiring manager's first and last name. If you've looked everywhere and you can't track it down, stick to something simple like Dear Hiring Manager. In the introduction paragraph, you're expressing your interest in this specific job. So naturally, it's the main thing that you'll edit with each submission. You should include the position that you're applying for and the company name. Wrap up this paragraph with 1 or 2 sentences on why you are the perfect candidate for the position. The body paragraph is where you describe what you can bring to the company and why they need you specifically. Briefly go over your skills and experience that might not be listed on your resume, or one that you might want to particularly highlight, and be sure to include a measurable accomplishment from your previous role. Include a statement on what unique thing you can bring to the organization and some of your strengths. And when I say measurable accomplishment, I'm meaning something qualitative. So percentages or dollars, things like that. This could be a performance metric. It could be time that you saved the company, money that you were able to bring in, or money that you were able to save. Something tangible that further highlights the benefit that they will get when they hire you. Now, you'll add in some lines about what you did in your last role to demonstrate your experience and skill set. The job duties you'll include should not be directly from your resume. They read that already. Expand on what you have listed. Talk about the critical tasks that you were responsible for that help the company continue to run smoothly or become more efficient. The closing paragraph should reiterate your interest in the position, express your gratitude for the reader's time, and that you look forward to speaking with them in the future. And of course, include your sign-off. Once you get something like this set up, it can become a template in which you're just swapping out the hiring manager's name, the position you're applying for, and the company name. The result of using this technique is that you are not allowing yourself to overanalyze or to get writer's block, and this can greatly reduce the anxiety surrounding the cover letter. By avoiding that mess entirely, you'll be able to easily submit a cover letter in your applications. And like we talked about earlier, they can really make an impact on your application and get your resume moved to the top of the stack for an interview invite. Okay, so that's it for today, but remember this is a two-parter, so be sure to join me next week where I will go into those more advanced techniques that will help you wow the hiring manager. If you happen to get stuck or you're second-guessing your template, just remember, we are here. You can always come into the office or give us a call, and one of our career specialists will sit down and work through the process with you. Find the contact information for your local office by going to our website, workforcesolutionsrca.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. Good luck in your job search, and I'll see you next week.